Hey everyone, it's Ronnie. This month we are taking a break from new episodes of the podcast and we are having reruns instead. So you may have heard our previous rerun 2 weeks ago. Today we are having a rerun from late in 2023. I had an amazing conversation with two brilliant women, Carly and Carmen of Radiant Knowing. We talk a lot about the work that Carly and Carmen do to lift other women up. They specifically want to help moms level up and get unstuck from the stress and anxiety of their everyday life. I think this interview is so encouraging and impactful that I just really wanted to share it again so that if you haven't heard this one, you have the opportunity to hear it and feel inspired by Carly and Carmen. Without further ado, here is this episode, and I will see you in 2 weeks with a brand new episode of the Plant Eat Podcast. Welcome to the Plant Eat Podcast, where I interview industry experts about meal planning, food, and wellness to help you answer the question, what's for dinner? Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Plant Eat Podcast. Today, I have a wonderful interview with Carly and Carmen of Radiant Knowing. They are a nutritionist and dietitian duo who have teamed up to create this business where they help busy moms unlock clarity and confidence so that they can nourish their bodies holistically and create simple and sustainable plans for feeding their family. And we just had a wonderful conversation. They both give some really actionable tips for moms and really for anybody who's doing kind of like the homemaking, the child caring part of a household to really help you like up level and not just get stuck in the stress and anxiety little whirlwind that can happen. They're really into, specifically empowering mothers into kind of like revolutionizing some of their systems, getting more organization and systems put into place so that they can find a little more freedom and a little more time in their life. We just had a really great conversation today, and I know you are going to love it and enjoy it. Carly, Carmen, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today.
Thank you for having us. We're so happy to be here.
Yeah, thanks, Ronnie. We love you guys.
Oh, well, we're so happy that we found you and connected with you. And so before we get started, I want you to both just tell us who you are and what you do for a living.
Oh, how fun. Yeah, my name's Carly Knowles. I'm a registered dietitian, and I live in Portland, Oregon with my partner here. Yeah, Carmen Shaw, business partner.
Hi, everyone. So my background is a certified nutritionist, and Carly and I met because of a previous job that I had that was very exciting.
Yeah. Carmen ran an event planning business. She owned her own business for 18 years, and she actually planned my wedding. And that's how we met, which is just such a fun little twist of a story.
Yeah.
And we knew we wanted to be buddies, but it wasn't until we had babies just a few years apart, but really connected in that mother space, that new mom space, that we became good friends. And then years later, business partners. But what we do, that's kind of the longer answer. What we do is we own a business together called Radiant Knowing, and it's focused on holistic nutrition and wellness for busy, health-conscious moms.
I love it. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So, Carly, are you also a nutritionist? Is that previously what your main focus was?
Me? Yeah,
Carly.
registered dietitian. So I've been a dietitian for almost 10 years. So I did my master's program, got my master's degree at Bastyr University, which is this really incredible school in Seattle, Washington. And I worked in hospital for a handful of years, and inpatient in the ICU, and then also in outpatient diabetes and weight management clinics. What's really ironic is Portland's small. So we're in Portland, Oregon again, and Portland's pretty small. But the office that I used to work in at this hospital, now my husband works in. And it's just a funny story. We have worked with the same people, and Carmen and I know a lot of the same people, and Portland's just this fun little community or big village. Don't you think that we?
It is.
Yeah. So I bring that up because I feel like sometimes I'm still in that community space, but officially out of the hospital system. I've been in private practice for, um, let's see here, like 5, almost 6 years. And I threw in a couple babies in there. And and now we're full time doing this work.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit of the story of how you guys got connected through the event planning, but then how'd you guys decide that you wanted to start this business together and help, help the moms in the world?
For me, even back when I was doing the event planning, that's such a big moment in someone's life, right? And it's this complex series of steps that you take to get to this glorious end goal, right? In doing that, I could see how women were struggling with feeling good in their bodies, right? And all the expectations of showing up on that day and being your most vibrant self. So it was actually in tandem of doing that work that I became certified as a health coach so that I could begin to weave a little bit of that in to the work that I was doing in this event space. And also seeing how food in general brings people together, like in this communal
Totally.
space and this communal way, so it really, the seed was planted for me many, many years ago in doing that work and then wanting more of that. Right. So it was this really beautiful opportunity to take all the systems, right? Like all the mastery required to take a big complex goal and bring it into the day-to-day, the practical reality and how we work towards that goal. So what was so cool about that is that all that transferred now into how we serve women in the space. And then Carly, with years and years of the deep nutrition knowledge, it just was a natural union for us to come together with those backgrounds to really, like we like to say, we want to elevate women one meal at a time, right? One meal at a time. And we do that with bringing these beautiful backgrounds that we have.
Yeah. When we met in that event space, and Carmen just stood out to me because she was such a different type of space holder than like you might think, oh, how does event planning lead to wellness, right? But you hear her describe that like she wanted to serve women on a deeper level and connect with them more holistically in that space. And it's her business, so she got to really run it how she wanted. And that stood out to me as on the receiving end as the bride to be. And we knew there was something in our future because I've always been in women's health. I worked at, the places I told you about, but it was always like in the serving of women that lit me up the most. And I just found the needs of women to be more specific and just what I was drawn to. And so I got married, and then a few years later had my first child, and she has twins, by the way. Let's just acknowledge that because that's pretty remarkable.
Takes a whole other level of system.
Oh, and we had to do that. And so she and I, we kind of went like under, we both like went back into our caves in those couple of years because I was working on my business and training and pregnant, and she was in the weeds with those little twin girls who are now 7. But when I got pregnant, we started to reconnect about just the struggles that unique to moms that we encounter every day as two, like, I don't know, I'd say fairly high achieving women who work their buns off in life and have a lot of education and experience, like we're starting at the bottom, like mothering levels you. It levels you. Oh,
Truly.
in that humble time, man. Like it really levels you. And it's just the most transformative and beautiful thing as well. However, we were kind of stuck. We were lost a little bit in starting over. And the systems were both like, these, I don't know, strategic queens. I don't know how you want to like spin it in a good way, organized. I don't want to say type A, but we're systemic, we're organized. And it's why we're able to do what we do so well, because it feels really natural to us. But mothering is not those things naturally. It's like the chaos and the wild and the unknown and the unpredictable. And it requires so much surrender, which is beautiful. And it has so much medicine to teach us, right? And so we started unpacking. We started really talking about that. And it became like a therapy for both of us too. Like, wow, mothering's hard. Mothering levels us. Like that's like where we started. But it turned into this conversation about this concept that as women and as mothers, we're unique beyond like the needs that we have mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, really start to shift away from the main general group. And the whole focus is on the children. Everyone's focus, everybody, we're so, you think about postpartum, everyone wants to hold the baby. And it's like the mom that needs the holding. The baby, of course, does, but everyone's going to hold the baby. So baby's good. It's this mom piece. And we've called it a come drum. We want to get kind of silly and lighten it up again. We can like bring it out a little bit. But Carmen and I are like, okay, your history and planning and being this like incredible space, physical and emotional space maker. Okay. And me with nutrition and this ability to connect with people and connect dots. Carmen's great at that too. We're like, this belongs in this conversation. And we know there's room for more of that. God, there's room for more of that. And it took a few years because we had to get these little babies moving in the, growing up and moving in the direction where we could find more freedom and more capacity and time. But here we are. And we've been doing this now for almost a year together. And we're on a big mission. Yeah.
I love it.
Okay.
And part of that mission is this elevating women one meal at a time, which I think is so poignant. Such a beautiful phrase that you guys have created around that. So let's talk about that a little bit. How do you go about helping elevate women in this sort of way? Are there, like what are the increments of this elevation? Like how does it start?
Well, we did a we did a fun kind of daunting calculation of
Oh God.
how many meals truly are we responsible for in bringing up these young people. And for one kiddo, it was something like 19,710. Was that the number?
19,710 meals, 3 meals a day for 18 years. Like, not to get all crazy, but like, there's a little dose of reality. So,
Yeah.
so there's
yeah.
that.
So there's that. So that's a lot of planning, right? That's a lot of getting organized and doing it when your energy is low, when your pockets for finding time to not only plan and prep and, all the pieces that come together A to Z to get the healthy. Oh, and then healthy.
Mhm.
On top of it. Right. Right. So we were like, we really are excited about shoring up the foundation, right? It's like for these women, how do we bring more nutrient dense, whole food, mineral rich, all the colors of the rainbow onto the plate, right? And so like that's the up leveling a bit. That's like
Increment one.
increment
Yeah. First
one.
step.
First step, right, is really bringing some attention and intention to how we create our plate.
Yep. We talk about with our clients, we talk about how, you first start like intellectualizing nutrition. Like you learn about macronutrients, you learn about, phytonutrients, vitamins, minerals, how it interacts with your body, maybe even what you don't feel good when you eat certain foods. And you kind of start there, but it's a very intellectual endeavor. And as a dietitian with a master's degree in science, like, God, can I intellectualize it? Yeah, but like that becomes so unrelatable at a certain point. So it was taking that into, it was like bringing that back into the kitchen and the home space, the family dynamic. So we say first you learn, about what goes on your plate, how to maybe organize a balanced plate or compose a balanced plate. We have something in our business called Radiant Knowing's balance plate that we made, this little visual plate to show people how you break down macronutrients, specifically where we're focused, who our audience is women ages 35 to 55. It's kind of that midlife zone, and it's the a lot of moms that have maybe like grade school kids and on seems to be really when moms are starting to want some more meal support. So that seems to be where we're at. But anyways, you start with this like inner circle of nutrition, and it's the foundation. It's the literal building blocks, both physically in our bodies, but from our perspective in our process that we take our clients through. And you have to start there because that's where we start with the brain, we intellectualize it, we create like that system. And then how do we make that a reality? Because dietitians, especially, we're so good at talking about that, but then how do we get that food on people's plates? And one of the tools we use is Plan to Eat. For example, we love having your meal planning tool available. Like truly, it helps our clients. We use it with every one of our clients. Plan to Eat is absolutely our favorite meal planning tool that we've found. And what other hacks, what other time-saving hacks, what other kitchen tools can we recommend? What other time blocking? And that's that like system, the system or the organization, those tools that we bring in, because it's not just enough to say, go off and eat more protein. Have a great day, busy mom who's burnt out and exhausted, low energy, and during cold and flu season, like good luck. So it's helping them literally start with their mindset, change habits, change the way they talk to themselves. It's moving into their physical body. It's organizing their time. It's organizing their kitchen so that it all can come together to bring food to the table. And then from there, this is where we get really excited into this elevating women space, that tagline we use, but we mean it. It's our core mission, elevating women one meal at a time. Where that applies is, so let's say you have the nutritional foundation. Okay. And look at this like ripples. Okay. So there's your center. You have this nutritional foundation. You're very clear and confident on what your nutrient needs are as a mom, for more energy, to feel better in her body, to sleep better, to have less anxiety, be less irritable, like the symptoms of motherhood. Okay. And then from there, you're able to plan and prepare and serve that food more readily, more easily, with less effort, with more organization. And what if it actually, in the end, bought you 30 minutes more time in a week? 30 minutes. Okay. So we're talking about scraps of minutes. But for a crazy, wild, busy mom with kids, like, holy smokes, 30 minutes is a game
Oh,
changer.
it's everything.
It's
It's
everything.
everything. It's everything to layer to just give you an ounce of care, of
Just an ounce. And it starts
self-care.
there, right? Yeah.
Truly,
So you
truly.
get that 30 minutes, right? And you get to stop and maybe sit down or ask yourself, like, oof, why do I feel this way? Or as we coach our clients, to look inward, to get self-aware, to take a 30,000-foot view and kind of look at what's going on and what do I need? Ask yourself, what do I need in this moment? Oh, I need to sit down and just rest. We hear that a ton. They're just go, 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 going. You're in that kind of fight or flight mode all the time. So you get that 30 minutes to just like, and then think of how much more productive making dinner might actually be if you were grounded and present before. Maybe you realize you're even starving. You're starving. So you give yourself a little before you make dinner. And now you get to be even more present and more, intentional. And then what happens in a few weeks after practicing that? Here comes that next ripple. Maybe you have like 2 hours. Maybe your like planning system and your meal prep like actually came through and it helped you and like, wow, plan to eat's in there. And like, okay, I didn't actually have to go to the grocery store a second or third time. And I actually even saved a little bit of money. And whoa, 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 there's like some more freedom and open space. And okay, well, maybe I'm actually going to that workout class now because now it's not half an hour. Now I just bought myself like 2 more hours. So it's that next increment. Okay. And then here's the one that just like gets us so excited. So then now you've created the nutritional foundation. You've figured out your efficiency hacks. You bought yourself a little more time. You got organized. You implemented your meal planning tools. And now maybe you have this system that you can rinse and repeat. And what if in that system, you're able to ask for support from a partner? You're able to ask, your village, that village that we're supposed to call on, maybe you can say, hey, I have all the ingredients for dinner Tuesday and I can do it. But if you did it, then I could get that class in, or I could not show up frazzled to dinner, or I could finish my workday and feel competent and communicate my needs at work to show up in this place that I also want to succeed and thrive in. Like, what's possible for you if that ripple keeps growing? And that's when we talk about elevating women one meal at a time. We want to do our part to move the needle even one notch to elevate women in the world, in life. And it sounds kind of like, it sounds a little, I don't know, cheesy even, but like there's a real history of moms and women working really hard, without a lot of love and support historically. And we really want to change that because we believe that the world is so beautiful and so organized and so effective and full of love because of the mamas. Mamas are pretty miraculous. So that's how we got to the elevating women.
Yeah.
One meal at a time. But we do truly believe that it starts with nutrition and the real food that goes on your plate.
Well, that's a beautiful, all of those things. That's so beautiful. Like I love that you talked about it as like a ripple and like being able to picture it that way. But I also, this is something that, we talk about at Plan to Eat is, there are certainly certain personalities who are more drawn towards organization and structure and systems, right? Like some people, like the three of us, are people who kind of like crave that, right? And there are some people who are like, I like to be spontaneous and, there's like freedom in spontaneity. But I feel like there's so much freedom when you create a system and you have that organization, right? Like that's all of what I got from what you just said is like once you get these things in place and everything feels like, okay, it's like now turning like clockwork, like now I have so much more freedom and I have this like empowered aspect of this freedom to be able to get the things that I want and the things that I really need out of my life. Like it kind of made me think of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, like you have like very basic needs of like food and shelter and water, and you go all the way up to the top of the pyramid that's like self-actualization. And it's almost like getting that 30 minutes to like sit and think about yourself is like, I just got 30 minutes of self-actualization because I didn't have to pay attention to the food and the water and the shelter and all the things.
Yes, Ronnie,
yeah.
you see it. You can see it.
And that is what unlocks the transformation,
Yeah.
right? It truly is.
Totally.
Yeah. And when we can put these systems and these tools in place to reduce the overwhelm, reduce the anticipatory anxiety. Oh, I mean, it's all of the unseen that we carry
As moms, right?
as moms, as women, right? And these are the tools. This is a way to reduce that so that we can stay more in the top of the
Mhm.
hierarchy, right? That's the goal. That's the beautiful transformation.
And what's really cool is we've learned through practice, through trying it on. We run nutrition programs for women. We run group. We've done one-on-ones, and we've spent the last year really fine-tuning our process. And what we found is we don't need, because like the three of us, we love a good plan, right? Like I bet we plan other things in our life too. Like, I wink, wink, wink. And we just inherently see that value and feel it in our bones. However, like you said, not everyone does. Well, we've learned how to do that for people
Mhm.
because they come to us for nutrition. We don't need them to come to us wanting the same things. Like we can, as long as we can agree that, these are your symptoms and we can help you with them, and that you want this outcome, we can hold that space in the middle, the vehicle that gets you from point A to point B. And we have so many versions of doing that for people. And that I think is important to call out because that's why we're doing this. Because it brings us joy. It comes naturally. We love doing it together. We teach each other, Carmen and I, so much about how to do that in these different places that we've served over the 30 collective years that we've been doing this. And so it's a joy when someone gets to come to us and kind of let go. They get to
Mhm.
say, and we have one specific person in mind too, even that was like, I'm not this linear person that wants like a calendar of meals. And we really help that person that, lives a little more organically in the way that they process the world. We still were able to help that person feel seen and heard and take them through a process that wasn't overwhelming to get the outcome that they wanted. And that's been our biggest joy, truly, is like cracking the code on how to serve our women too, because everyone needs a little something different. And when we say holism, that's what we're referring to. It's not just to get to the top of the pyramid so that you can access that whole of you, which is definitely a part of what we're saying, but it's the holism too, in that each person is unique. Each mom has a different set of demands, a different set of obstacles, limitations, food preferences, intolerances, like, the subjects go on and on and on. And so to remain understanding of that and compassionate to that so that you can truly serve, truly, not just a limited version is important to us. And that's where we define holism.
So you already mentioned that you guys have your own like idea for what a balanced plate looks like. You've talked about using Plan to Eat, but I have a feeling that there are potentially moms who are listening who are like, yeah, all of this sounds great, but like, where the heck do I get started on, elevating myself to this point? So like, aside from, figuring out the balanced plate and maybe using something like Plan to Eat, like what are some other tools you guys could share that might help somebody try to get to that next level?
Absolutely. It's a really
Yeah.
great question.
It's a great one. You know, this is going to sound a bit interesting, but we really like to try on that breath
Mm.
work. Like, I know
It's a really great starting place.
it's a
too.
huge starting point because you know this is a journey. This is a process. Developing, you know, having a framework to go about this and a plan. You know, we need to kind of step by step, but we need to ease into it sometimes, right? And so there will be those days, even with the plan in place, there will be those days that you know, it just didn't work out.
Mhm.
You know, everything ran behind and you show up and you're frazzled a bit, right? So arriving in the kitchen space and just taking a few deep breaths, it's that transition. It's like that let go. The chaos is still going to be happening. But can we, for just a moment, step out of it? And I think the breath, like just taking a few deep breaths, makes a huge impact. We show up into the kitchen maybe a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more intentional, because you know what? We're going to prepare the meal anyways. So let's take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Well, and research shows that we actually, with breath work, you can switch from that fight or flight, what's also called the sympathetic nervous system, into a relaxed state or rest and digest mode. How appropriate right before dinner by doing breath work. It's really powerful. Like, it's not just some woo-woo thing that we're recommending. We're rooted in the science behind it too. So you can access just a little. It might not bring you peace. You might not, be able to maintain it for that long. Fine. Let's start. Like, let's be really realistic about that too. I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. Like, breath work's not going to take me more than about 10 minutes. Okay. But those 10 minutes are going to get me through, the chopping, or get me to the place where I have my mise en place in place. All my ingredients are out and ready in little bowls so that I can cook faster. Um, so it's a good place to start. It also allows you to ask yourself, how am I really feeling? It goes back to that conversation we were having
Right,
earlier.
right.
Like, am I really hungry? Well, how hungry are you? So a tool we use to help people tune in to their hunger and fullness cues is to put it on a scale. So not a scale to weigh yourself. No, no, no. To put it on a number scale from 1 to 10. How hungry am I? Well, it's, and you start intellectualizing. Well, it's 5 o'clock. I should be really hungry because I'm about to do dinner. No, no, no. You took those breaths. You slowed down for a second. How am I really feeling? I'm actually not that hungry, but I'm going to check in again, because Carly and Carmen, the dietitian nutritionist team, told me that when I'm in fight or flight, I don't have as much hunger as I actually physiologically have. So you just get these little check-ins. It's like, it's the hustle culture has conditioned us out of that. And then being a mom is like, it's like hustle culture times 50. It's just insane. So it's a fabulous starting place. Tune in, take a deep breath. I'm clapping over here. I know no one can see me on a podcast, but I'm like, come on, you can do it. Another thing we suggest, another great tool would be, and I know you guys love this idea too, is meal prep. These efficiency hacks. So in our course, Nourish 2.0, we talk a lot about efficiency hacks, because that's that second ripple, right? It's like buying yourself these slivers of time that add up to be more substantial, so that you can think about something outside of just your basic needs. And efficiency hacks, like Carmen is so good at this, especially. I love hearing it. Like when you come home from the farmer's market with all your produce, like, tell them what you do.
I call it processing my veggies. I take the time to wash them right when I bring them home. I wash them,
All of them.
all of it. Yeah, all of it. I did not used to do this. I just bring everything home and shove it in the fridge and deal with it later. But I found that it saves me so much anxiety during the week when I have to do all of that at once.
Mm.
So I bring the beautiful vegetables home, and it's sort of my process of being more intentional too and honoring this beautiful food that I just got. So I'm taking the time, washing them, chopping them, and putting them in the fridge. And it's great. So I'm that much further ahead when it goes to be the time to prepare the actual meal. My kids can get in the fridge and all the like they're more likely to help themselves to a chopped carrot than if the carrot was shoved in the drawer. They're just not going to go to that. So I think for our family, it's just made access to nutrient dense food more readily available by just doing that one thing when I bring the groceries home.
Yeah, she's so good at that. And that's not for everyone, but it is one of the many hacks that you can try on. Another one is when you make your dinner tonight, for example, let's say it's going to be chicken breast and some yummy tomato sauce and you, instead of just doing what the recipe calls for, and this is a tool or a function of Plan to Eat that we love, you can batch cook. So you can double, triple, quadruple your recipe. And instead of only cooking off the, 4 chicken breasts that it asked you to do, you cook off 8. And what can you then make on a Thursday with that? That's so much easier. Or now you have lunch sorted out, or your kids, you can put it in your kids' lunch boxes, or it becomes dinner the next night, chopped up in the pita with some hummus and lettuce and fresh veggies, so it's that batch cooking, it's meal prepping, and they each have, subcategories in them, and it just lights us up. Like this is what we do for a job. Like we get to spend time learning that stuff so people don't have to go search around for all the answers that they can, because we also know that we won't. That's, everyone has priorities, and we chose to prioritize food and nutrition and your overall wellness. And so we get to be those people that, can help you in that place. And that brings us we just love it. We love it so much we can hardly stand it. And on that note, Carmen and I, another place someone could start is Carmen and I spent weeks, hours, weeks and hours over and over and over and over creating a list of 365, so an entire year's worth of healthy snacks that are rich in protein, fiber rich, healthy fats, all the things that are in our balanced plate. We decided to take that off of mom's list. Like, what should I eat? We hear mom say all the time, oh, I just, binged on these crackers, or, oh, I didn't know what to eat. I had, another cheese stick. Like, how much mozzarella can I eat? And those are great. And we love a good cheese stick, and crackers are awesome. But like moms would need variety, and they it's like, what do you Google it? Like, what do you do? So we're like, okay, the meals seem to be more easily found for moms, but it's the snack ideas. And women, I think diet culture has caused, it's the repercussions are women are terrified of snacks. Or some of them, like snacks mean I'm going to get fat, or snacks are inherently packaged and processed. Well, we took all of that worry and guessing work out of it, and we created an entire year's worth of healthy snacks. We mixed it with some store-bought. So on the days you need it, we have some recommended store-bought. Like there's these amazing little smoked salmon boxes you can get at Costco that we love and recommend. And then we have really easy kind of like pre-made foods you put together to make a snack, like deli turkey, maybe that cheese stick, maybe some apple slices. But we've taken the mom brain out of it. You don't have to use your brain. Here's the bridge into finding a little more peace for yourself. So that's on our website. You can get that. It's free. Um, and it's tools like that. Like that's the stuff that really is a great place to start, because you can intellectualize it all day long. You can systematize it all day long. But if you don't have the tool right now and you need it to, be available, like it can be discouraging, and we don't want
Mhm.
that.
Well, I'll definitely make sure we link to the snacks in the show notes so that everybody can grab that. And of course, I love the idea around, meal prep and things like that. But I kind of want to go back to talking about breathing and breath work, because I do feel like this um, is like lost knowledge that we are like regaining now in like modern society. It's been something that people have not talked about for a really long time, in my opinion, and it's starting to get a little more popular. I think it's so interesting how parents often will, like if your kids, having a bit of a tantrum or whatever in kind of an anxiety space, like parents will say like, "Why don't you take 3 deep breaths?" Like there's like a coaching aspect that parents do with their kids a lot. However, the same thing isn't reciprocated on themselves often when it comes to like, "I'm having kind of a panic attack right now." The thought really doesn't come to mind of like, "How can I make myself feel better?" Like you know how to coach your kids oftentimes and how to like make them feel better. Take a deep breath, calm down. It's not that big of a deal. And yet, like, for ourselves, we're like, "I'm having a panic attack over here." And you forget yourself to, like, breathe. So I really love that you brought that up because I do think it's often lost on adults that, like, we can do the same thing too.
Totally.
Yeah.
I have to jump into, and this is totally my role in our relationship, but I'm like just a fierce fighter for mothers. Like I'm going to protect moms for God, I just have like, yeah. Anyway, so where I want to start, and then we won't spend too much time there, but what's so important to remember is we've forgotten to take care of the moms.
Mm.
And we just have to say that, like, that's why we're focused on it. And could we help women in general? Absolutely. Could we help men? Oh yeah, nutrition is diverse and readily available, but we're choosing to help moms because of what you just said. We are so quick to help all the little ones around us or bring people together and take care of them, that we often either sacrifice ourselves or feel the mom guilt if we were to give ourselves too much of that attention or energy, or take it away from someone else's cup to fill ours. And sometimes we even feel obligated, like it's our role, that's our job. We've been, conditioned and taught that that's it. And there's little elements of all that are definitely worth pondering and feeling into for your family and your dynamics and your expectations. And we know that if a mom isn't being cared for, either by herself or by herself and her community, it's going to be really hard for everyone else to thrive. Not because I want to say we're the center of attention. No, no, no. It's because we do so much for the family. And families look very different. And different families have different roles for different people in it. I really believe, as a majority, the women in families with kids are working their butts off. So if the breath work is a way to help give her a win or like that moment for herself so that she gets a little care, like it is such a perfect way to start, and it can't end there. And I'll turn it over to Carmen now, but like
No, it's great.
we can't end on the breath work. It's a fabulous entry point though. Fabulous.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, we like to think about bringing ritual in. We coach moms a lot, and breath work is a form of ritual, right? That you can tap into, just like having that beautiful mug of tea that you go to, and that's a non-negotiable. You're always going to have that tea in your pantry because that is like 5 minutes of you time, So I think
The candle.
the candle on the counter, like even if we're just lighting that one candle, it's the reminder that we are worth this 5 minutes to care for ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like the candle is such a cool, we call it like kitchen meditation, or like using cooking as a form of meditation, because you got to do it, and we're here, we're feeding our families, like it's really beautiful. And what if we could, maybe we can't stop and take a breath, maybe the kids are screaming and that doesn't actually sound that relaxing. Well, we recommend sometimes that women will light candles in their kitchen, ideally a non-scented one so it doesn't interfere with the cooking, the delicious cooking smells. But every time you look at it, you like say a little mantra to yourself, in
Mm.
even in silence, or you
Mhm.
celebrate yourself for a second. And it's when you're conscious of it, like you see the flame, and it sounds kind of woo and far out, but it's not. It's like the smallest, little, tiniest moment of ritual for a mom, because maybe she's not getting it anywhere else. Maybe she is, and maybe she
Yeah.
isn't. And
Mm-hmm.
what a cool opportunity to just celebrate all that she's doing.
Yeah. And we like to say our peace is our power.
Mhm.
That's a fun mantra. Like it just takes a minute. My
Not even
peace,
a minute, 3
my
seconds,
peace is my power. Okay. All right.
right? You see the candle and you think, my peace is my power. And sometimes they're just words because it's chaos around you, or because you're really trying this new recipe or cooking technique. But it's powerful. Words mean something. And if you wake up every day and say that to yourself, or you look at a candle every time you cook and you say that, like it starts to, implant, and the seed, gets planted for, again, one of those ripples. Like what else is possible down the road if you really start to embody that?
I love that. Makes me think there was a period of time, I don't have it on my phone anymore because, I got a little too, like, accustomed to it, but I used to have a note on my phone that would, like, or a reminder on my phone that would come up every morning, that was like, "You're powerful," or whatever, like a little mantra like that. And I got rid of it just simply because it was like I learned to expect it every morning at 7 o'clock, and it kinda lost some of its meaning. Um, but it's still something that I often like every morning, like, it's still, even now that there's not a reminder on my phone, it's something that I think of, and it really is, I think, the power of, like, your thoughts really affect your actions, and, so I really like that you guys encouraging other ladies to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it seems unrelated to nutrition in a, like, so how are you a dietitian nutrition team again? But it's the holism. It's like making sure that we shed light on all aspects of whole women and whole women's health, because we really believe that it's there, that the healing is really available to us. So yeah, their words are powerful, actions, cooking, meal, and it's all packaged together, and it's a pretty cool thing if you're open to it.
Yeah. Well, and I think if you are, creating more home cooked meals is something that's a big desire of yours. Having kind of that up leveled mindset can be really important for that, because when you're stuck in the moments of stress and anxiety, it's so much easier to default to, getting takeout or going through the fast food line. So having that up leveled mindset to me feels totally applicable to being able to let peacefully get dinner on the table every night.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
part of our program our course that we made, there's a piece of it that's mindset, because it really does start there. Like it's again, it's bringing all those pieces together, because we're really crafty. We're smart. We're smart. You get in your own way,
Mhm.
and especially if you're able to be, if you're an overthinker, we can say, or you get that hamster wheel spinning. Yeah, it's something that we can do to help set us up for success. And when it comes to habit change, any habit change of any type, there's a really big mindset component to it. Is, the psychology of it is very interesting and something we also like to work with our clients on.
Yeah. Well, I won't take up your whole afternoon, but why don't you tell everybody a little bit more about your course as well as where they can connect with you if they want to learn more about what you do?
Yeah. So our course is called Nourish 2.0. You can find on our website, radiantknowing.com, under courses. And it's a 21-day group program. It's a hybrid where we get to work with you, and we're going to look at your nutrition, and we're going to build a framework for helping you get your meals on the table, these beautiful nutrient dense meals. We're going to help you connect the dots on where you might be having obstacles, right? Where you're over and over again doing the same thing and not getting results. So we're going to help you shed some light on what might be happening for you personally there.
Yeah. We're focused on, again, women ages 35 to 55. In the nutrition world, it's called midlife. Whether we like that name or not, it is. And there's some unique needs to midlife women. And so we're going to really fortify the vessel as it relates to that time frame in life. And that includes a whole list of really easily accessible, and then some that need some support, nutrition um, initiatives. And we walk people through that in our course. And it's exciting. And there's this group element that we all get to be together to witness each other as we make some of these changes. And just as moms, it's really nice to hear some of the things that we can relate to each other about and realize we're not really that alone after all, and that we start to really think of each other in the process as we're learning new tools and trying on new ideas and finding what works for us. And there's a big piece of plan to eat, a big element there as well. Our framework ties into plan to eat. And we have some really fun recipe tags that we use to help organize within the app. And we walk our clients through that. And it's a blast. And we're just having so much fun with it. We'll probably run the next round in the new year, probably get through the holiday craze, because as moms, dang-a-lang, that's where all the magic is, right?
Mom magic.
Mom magic. So we'll probably start back up in January. So again, radiantknowing.com, and then it's under online courses. You can read more about it, Nourish 2.0. We do work with a select group of one-on-ones as well for moms that are looking for some more customized support. So that's definitely more of like a clinical experience to maybe work on some specific symptoms that are unique to you on top of the conundrum or the symptoms of motherhood. And let's see what else. We're starting our own podcast. That's exciting. So stay tuned online on our website for that. And then that snack list, we'll make sure to give you that link, Ronnie, so you can share that, because that's really just this. We refer to it. We use it all the time. We talk about that it's nice that we don't have to engage in thinking about what else we want to eat for a snack. And we probably have a lot of it at home already. So we'll make sure you get that as well.
Beautiful. I love it. Well, I really appreciate you both taking the time to be with me today. And this has been a great conversation. So thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks, Ronnie. We love you guys. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for tuning in to today's podcast. There are going to be links in the show notes to the snacks that Carly talked about, also to their website and all of the places that you can connect with them online. Carly and Carmen often run a webinar where they help give some more helpful tips and tricks. And so look out for that in the future if you would like to learn a little bit more about some of their processes. And you can support the Plan to Eat podcast by subscribing wherever you get your podcasts, and share this episode with a friend, with a mom in your life, so that she can feel a little bit more empowered today. Thanks for listening, and I will see you again in 2 weeks.